Evening. It is Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. And I would like to call to order the Board of Library Trustees board meeting for this October 15th. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell?
Here.
Trustee Bella? Here. Trustee Kelly? Here. Trustee Meadow is absent. Trustee Rule is absent. Trustee Zick is absent. President Smart.
Here. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like a motion to welcome Trustee Zick to this meeting as a voting member. He is out of town for work purposes.
So moved. And second.
All in favor? Aye. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. All right. How about liaison reports?
I do not have a friend report, but I do have a report from the foundation. The foundation's 2024 impact report was emailed to all foundation donors last week. You received a copy of the impact report at your seat tonight. Their vegetarian fundraiser last Friday was sold out, and guest chef Sonia did a great job. She was a natural presenter and loved by all attendees. They are reviewing and updating their mission, vision, and values as they proceed with populating their strategic plan for the next 5 years. In November, they are hosting an event or an evening with their board advisory team and some of their major donors to share a sneak peek into some of the future fundraising initiatives. Development Committee is beginning to plan their March International Women's Day event, again featuring local women entrepreneurs. They have a new scholarship chairman who brings youth and enthusiasm to her new role. We are excited to see where we can take this as we enter our third year with the scholarship program. And finally, they are working on their annual appeal, which will be in the mail late next month. That is everything I have from the foundation.
Wonderful. Could you please make sure that that impact report is emailed to Trustee Zick and Trustee Rule? Thanks. All right. Approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of September 17th, action item number 1.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting from September 17th, 2024. I second.
Second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Next, approval of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting, October 7th, 2024.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the Committee of the Whole meeting on October 7th, 2020.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that is approved. All right, review of the financial report for the period ending September 30th.
Okay, there was no real estate tax revenue recognized in the month of September, and the library did not receive any personal property replacement tax either this last month. Our copier printer revenue totaled $3,458.39. Our meeting room fees were $175. Lost item charges totaled $1,588.64. September interest income was $33,862.48. Donations totaled $844.41. The Friends of the Library reimbursed us $50,553.24. And so far in 2024, the Friends have reimbursed us $77,152 and have already committed to another $46,882. Since their inception, they've contributed approximately $1.8 million to the library. Similarly, the foundation has contributed $277,040 and $157,639 in in-kind donations to the library, and is currently working with our staff on a number of additional in-kind donations they've approved for the fourth quarter. The revenue collected for vehicle stickers this last month totaled $293. Makerspace miscellaneous revenue was $727.11, and the total revenue collected in September was $92,201.76. On the expense side, 75% of our fiscal year is lapsed, and we have expensed 70% of our total operating budget. The favorable variance to date is $848,760. There's a question about the property line in the budget. The property line represents furniture, fixtures, and equipment that do not necessarily arise to the level of a capital asset under the threshold of our policy, but are still segregated for reporting purposes and operating results. An example would be like a new office chair, shelving, storage, or contingency for a building repair. For the capital budget, we've expensed 36% so far as of September. The interior renovation began this week, which I'm sure you noticed when you came in with the Visqueen up. And both that project and the chiller and cooling tower project are expected to be finished and paid for by the end of this fiscal year. The partnership on the Belmont lot will be maybe delayed till spring of 2025 and is now included in the 2025 budget in case it is delayed. And then I do have some additional information based on questions from trustees. Not shown in the dashboard because it's not a true revenue or expenditure, but it is visible in the month-to-date and year-to-date numbers on the revenue and expenditure reports are the lines for operating transfers in and out. This represents two things. The 2024 budgeted transfer of $825,000 from the operating fund to the capital fund that was completed in March. This is to fund our capital projects. And then an additional transfer of $3 million in September, which reverses the one we did last year in April 2023. You recall we had replenished operating pooled cash using excess in capital. Our auditors were aware of this, and at the end of 2023, we saw a transfer because a small negative balance, or it caused a small negative balance in our capital fund. So we chose to undo that transfer this month with the upcoming capital projects to make sure our capital fund ends in 2024 in the black. We will fund pooled cash from the money market account going forward, even if the village indicates that we have available funds in capital. So the important thing to remember here is this is all geographically between funds and no money is coming into or leaving the organization for these transfers. It's just transfers within.
So we had moved funds to capital and now we moved it back to operating.
Yeah, right.
The way around.
Oh, we moved from,
We
okay,
moved it from capital to operating.
Got it.
and now we're just
got it.
undoing. We're trying to maximize interest earnings,
Sure.
like the village's philosophy and recommendation last
Yeah.
year. But it would cause a slight negative balance at the end of the year. We're like, oh, we'll just stick with our normal way of funding it from now.
Okay. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? All right. The check register.
Okay, I just have a couple of checks here to highlight. On page 3, check 103067 and 103071 to AHML and to Carrie Bailey in various amounts. Those are expenditures related to the Library Marketing and Communications Conference and the Association for Library Service to Children Conference for 3 staff. LMCC is in St. Louis in November and is designed for library employees involved in marketing, communications, PR, social media, and outreach. Sessions explore the important niche issues of library work. And the ALSC was in Denver in September and is a annual conference for those serving children and families in libraries. And then on page 13, check 103091 to Facility Gateway Corporation in the amount of $1,963.65. That is the annual cost on a 5-year contract for preventative maintenance and service on our UPS power supply for our IT server room. UPS is a critical system which protects and conditions the power for our server room. The contract covers battery testing and hardware inspections. These are needed to ensure the UPS provides protection against voltage spikes, surges, and power loss. It also includes all necessary service parts and materials needed to maintain the equipment. Batteries are excluded from the contract as they are a consumable part. That is everything I have for the check register. Anybody have any questions?
No. All right.
Then I move approval of the accounts payable check register for the Arlington Heights Memorial Library for September 30th, 2024 in the amount of $1,156,498.19.
Second?
May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell?
Yes.
Trustee Bella?
Yes.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Zick?
Yes.
President Smart.
Aye. All right, thank you. The executive director's report.
Okay, we have a couple big things going on this month. First of all is the One Book, One Village selection, the collected regrets of Clover. It is turning out to be a big hit with our community. As a result, our collection services team actually had to purchase more than double the number of ebook copies to meet the high demand. Let's see, and the author event has a wait list since the early days of September, and holds continue to grow for the regular and large print versions in the themed programs and book discussions are being well attended. I wanted to highlight a couple of programs of promotion that we're doing for the initiative. So we had the History of Manchang program. We had a bonfire at the Arlington Heights Historical Museum. From there, we had lawn games. The customers roasted marshmallows and burned their regrets. We had an OB inspired look at women in photojournalism post World War II program. The End of Life Perspectives panel virtually aimed to foster understanding, support, and community connection around the subject of death and dying. Our adult English language learners enjoyed a hybrid book discussion where they discussed new words they learned while reading the book, including the word doula. And then special music in the stacks performance by cellist Leanna Bosco was enjoyed by nearly 70 listeners, and a short video of Leanna's performance has spread like wildfire on Facebook with over 18,000 views. And then Catalina, our community engagement liaison, and Sasha, our director of communications and marketing, represented the library at the Village of Arlington Heights board meeting to promote this year's OBOV selection. And then on the next page, we had a couple of outreach opportunities, a couple of them. The library staff promoted OBOB at outreach events in the community in September, including the Farmers Market and Harmony Fest. Staff engaged with over 280 attendees on day one of the Harmony Fest and nearly 190 on day two. Throughout the weekend, attendees were able to put their name in a drawing for a copy of the collected regrets of Clover. See, then on page 3, Eddie, our genealogy and local history librarian, guest lectured at the Arlington Heights Historical Museum on the history of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library. Eddie has been presenting a series for the library on the history of various landmarks around town and how to research them with library resources. Eddie talked about the Women's Reading Circle in the late 19th century that first began lending out books, and how generations of hard work and investment brought about the library that we know and love today. Then on page 5, I want to highlight our Maker Place 3rd anniversary. So the Maker Place hosted its annual open house celebrating its 3rd year, creating new avenues to build community in Arlington Heights. Over 160 new and returning makers joined the party to learn, make, and taste what the Maker Place offers. The Maker Place staff ran multiple interactive and demonstration stations throughout the building. We had a screen printing station in the basement in the creative arts space. Our Maker Place specialist Lisa and her volunteer Jesse screen printed 47 tote bags with the help of the customers. Maker Place staff was supported by digital and youth services staff who were on hand with age-appropriate crafts and technical advice. The sewing room was abuzz with activity as regular Maker Place users, a dedicated group of quilters and sewers, shared their projects and offered valuable advice to visitors. And Chef Brian was in the kitchen for the duration of the party, cooking muffins and dumplings for people to eat, as well as talking to people as they came through. And then also in September, we had National Library Card Sign Up Month. We had 470 new customers sign up for the library card, for a library card in September. So it's a huge number.
Love those pictures. Those are so cute. And it's so funny that little kids like know how to make poses.
I know.
Yeah. I guess that's funny. I don't know.
Then on page 7, HML kicked off Hispanic Heritage Month with 100 attendees enjoying a Sunday musicale performance by Vivian Garcia. Vivian performed a wide range of Latin American styles of music, as well as some folk songs and originals. She performed in Spanish and English, offering a rich bilingual experience, complete with information about the musical styles and their origins and background stories of many of the songs. And then also on page 7, Barb, our Info Services librarian, helped kick off a new bi-monthly collaboration with the Village of Arlington Heights called Social Worker in the Library. Darren Brown, the social services coordinator for the Village of Arlington Heights, will be in the library 2 Tuesdays a month from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. to offer counseling and resources for staff and customers.
Have we promoted that?
We do have signage on.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that's really interesting, and I met him when we hosted that mental health evening or whatever. So I think that's a really cool thing. Once it's, we feel confident, I think that would be really great to promote. Yeah. Oh, good.
And then just want to highlight a couple of new things at the Maker Place. We have a new wet felting class at the Maker Place. In the spring, our fiber extraordinaire and local farmer, Natasha Lewis, approached Makerspace specialist Kate with the idea of a new program she wanted to try. Because of a long relationship with Natasha has with Kate in the Maker Place. HML was the first library to experience a combo wet felting and flower arranging class with fibers from local farms and flowers grown at Natasha's farm. And then the Maker Place held its first ever wire wrapped jewelry class with smashing success. The class filled up within the first 30 minutes of registration with 46 eager participants on the wait list. So that was another well-attended event.
Can I be ignorant and ask a question? What is wet felting?
That is an excellent question, one I'm not prepared to answer.
Oh, sorry. I mean,
You wanna talk about it?
Yes, so it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen like needle felting, when you
Yeah.
take wool and like poke it.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
So it's the same concept, but like when you get felt wet and have like soap and like hot water, it like binds to itself. So-
Cool. Excellent. Well, I always love seeing how much we are out in the community. And I have to say Harmony Fest this year was such a beautiful weekend. It was very well attended, but all of these other events were too. So that's terrific. And looking at the dashboard, I had a couple questions. One, I am wondering if, it seems like the past couple months, I feel like we're down a little bit in audio visual. And I just wonder again, if because people are streaming so much, are people taking out fewer like movies, DVDs?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a collection that's kind of continuing to go down.
Right.
Right.
But, we've talked about this in other meetings, and a lot of times, streaming is really expensive now.
Right.
So it has gotten our research in a lot of ways.
Okay.
So I think it's reflected here, down, but I don't think.
Right.
Libraries, like, people are hesitant to keep
Right.
facing it until.
But
Yeah, it's not.
do you think our collection is fewer items than it would have been 5 or 10 years ago in terms of?
KV, yeah, I think we're buying less.
Yeah.
KV, but you do see, an increase in the downloadables up 6.2%.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's almost
Obviously, we had
offsetting
to do more ebooks for the,
Exactly,
one book
yeah,
one
so
bill.
people are, adapting
Right.
the downloadables much more now.
interesting. All right, anyone else have any questions or comments? No? Thank you. It's always my favorite part of the meeting. All right, old business. The first item of old business, which we discussed very intently, and I think had a really robust discussion at our October Committee of the Whole meeting. So let us talk about the adoption of the 2024 tax levy.
So I would have liked Tracy with the table. Talk about where we ended up with
This is your favorite part? What doesn't happen every meeting like the executive director's report?
Okay, so the levy is the next item, and like trustee Samari said, based on discussions at the COW, we went back, Mike and I, and we took another look at our capital projects alongside of our current draft of a new engineering assessment that we had done recently, and we updated our long-range fiscal plan one more time, keeping that sort of latest and greatest information on capital in mind. And we've kind of included our final recommendation for you in the pack, landing at a 2% levy increase for this final draft of the 2025 budget. So that's reflected in the schedule. This is a truth and taxation schedule. That's part of the levying process that the village prepares for us, although we do give them the increase we're seeking. So as a result, this will put our final budgeted expenditures over revenues figure at, for 2025 at $458,668. We'll see it a little bit more in the next agenda item. But it feels a lot more reasonable than when we were approaching a $1 million budget deficit that we had looked at in that very first draft in September. And it equates to roughly a $9.50 increase per household per year on average. Of course, it's an average, it's not. I can say everyone's a little different in terms of their home. The long range fiscal plan then assumes a couple of years going forward of even smaller levy increases, but then back to 0% in the near future. But we'll monitor what actually happens, and maybe we won't even need those. We'll just kind of see what that actual activity looks like and just constantly adjust as we get more information. But we do believe that the 2% will give us what we need at this time.
Wonderful. Thank you for going back and looking at all the things we discussed. Particularly, I see that we are able to budget for half of the new lighting and ceiling in 2025 and half in 2026. So that is really helpful. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Do you, Greg? Greg?
I guess I will real quick. Yeah, Tracy and Mike, thanks for, taking a look at this and looking over everything. This is the type of step, for the voters, for the taxpayers, that we kind of have to look at to make sure that we're doing it the right way. What I really like about this is that you are showing a path back to the 0% levy in 2029. So that's something that's was the right way to do it. And I know, yes, there was a very robust conversation just last week, I guess that wasn't it? And I appreciate you taking it seriously and coming up with some numbers that really make sense. And again, as I said, it's really important showing that we are showing, we're doing something necessary for right now, but we are showing a path back to that 0% levy. So thank you very much for doing that.
All right. Anyone else? May I have a motion?
Yes, I move that the Board of Library Trustees adopts the 2024 tax levy in the amount of $15,124,000.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, Carol seconded. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell?
Yes.
Trustee Gallo? Yes. Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Zick?
Yes.
President Smart?
Aye. Yay, thank you. Thank you for all that work. And I think I especially like the $9.50 average per household per year. I think that the marketing and communications team, if we get questions, has a wonderful figure to work with. And if any of us get questions, we all have a wonderful figure to work with. I always encourage people, and I know that we all do, to use the library, take out more books and videos and go to a Maker Place class, go to all these amazing free classes. So, wonderful. All right, moving on to the 2025 budget.
Yeah, so very few changes, since the last draft review that the levy is the biggest change. Just a quick note on format, the budget that's in this board pack is now presented in the format that will be, provided to the village for use in publishing the budget books. So before you had been looking at largely the same format, but it was our internal schedules that kind of mimic this, but this is the actual format that will be public. There is a little bit of shading you'll see on the narrative pages, just a heads up, that's been corrected. We fixed that for the final draft. Otherwise, like I said, largely the same layout of a summary page followed behind by the individual department schedules, just without those comments, but nothing within those, those comments that you would have read last time have changed. So besides the levy, the only things that changed, notably, were on the operating side, we just shifted a couple of personnel costs for 2 part-time positions between the Maker Place and back to like their home departments at facilities and securities, just to kind of better align where those positions hours were sitting, but nothing changed in total for this move. And then on the capital side, we you might have seen this in the long-range fiscal plan, but we reduced The bookmobile budget for 2025, we anticipate, splitting those costs, and our lighting, splitting those costs over the next years, and that's based on, the most kind of current information we have on that. It kind of was one of those changes we had made when we were going through looking at, the long range fiscal plan. But that's it, those are the only changes.
Wonderful. Does anyone have any comments or questions? No.
Right, I move that
Well, actually, I have one just little comment that I want to make. I think the hardest thing, this is such a wonderful budget forecast. The one line item that I think is tricky is interest, is I think the Fed's going to lower interest rates again.
Yeah.
So that
So there
probably
will-
will change that, but I understand this is a forecast and it feels really good and it feels very doable. So thank you. All right, that was my only comment. Go ahead.
Okay. I move that the Board of Library Trustees adopts the 2025 Arlington High School library budget.
May I have a second? Second. Trustee Burrell seconded. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell?
Yes.
Trustee Gallo?
Yes.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Dick?
Yes.
President Smith?
Hi. Thank you very much. All right, new business.
Nothing under new business.
Okay, maybe it's other.
Nothing
I just
under.
want to remind people that we will be looking at our executive director's, how he is reaching his goals at our next COW in November. So expect that. I looked ahead to see what we typically have on our November and December budgets, and next month is the time, and I don't know what else we'll be talking about, but I'm sure something, and that will be the meeting before our executive director gets married too, so we're gonna, talk all about his work life.
There you go, yeah. Get it all out.
All right,
I have another.
yeah,
Just as a thought, and I can, talk to, Mike or, but there's a Screenagers, movie. It's a documentary that's come out, and, there's an organization that's like offering screenings for it. But it's Screenagers, elementary school age edition. So it's looking at 20 schools, just looking at everything that's going on with media and social media for youth and using screens for young adults and kids. So just as, the library may already be on it, I don't know. But just thought it's something to consider for a screening for parents, community members, teachers.
Yeah, that's all. Just that.
also, I wanted to remind us that, it's after our COW, but Sarah will be presenting our budget to the village board meeting on November 12th. Yeah, all right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn?
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.